Hello, hello, hello. This is Coach Vic. This is Finding Your 40. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. I'm so excited for us to be here today. We're having some really productive segments that in the past, and now we're moving forward. And today we're going to talk about the climb. Yesterday we talked about, or the last segment we talked about past musings lead to future problems. And what that meant was basically that when we ponder or long for something, for some version of ourselves, that was in the past, that is not, that was unrefined, or that was not as refined as we are right now. And we end up walking back in that direction. We end up reverting back to our behavior that leads to a future situation where we're not able to compensate properly and be able to bring ourselves forward into the place we're supposed to be. And so we want to stay away from that particular mentality, that mindset. We want to stay out of the past. What was in the past is in the past. There's nothing we can do about it. But we forgive ourselves for our actions, for our activities, and we move forward. But today we were talking about the climb. I'm really excited about the climb because we've been spending so much time talking about aircraft, and airplanes, and I told you I worked on planes, and that was my passion, it was my job, but it was the thrill, it was the excitement that I really loved it, and I began to learn more and more about how aircraft worked and the flight pattern and methods and methodologies behind the flight, behind flight, the safety of flight, behind the future of flight, and all the things that go along with it. So we're going to talk about the climb, and I know you, and I hope that you don't get tired of talking about aircraft because airplanes and birds and flying activities are so important to our mindset, because we have to look at things and raise our eyes above where we are. When you look at planes that are flying, when you look at birds that are flying, when you look at other vehicles that fly. Or other animals or mammals that fly, you get to raise your eyesight, to raise your level of sight above the ground, above your personal space, and you have to look up. And so I really want us to really begin to understand that as we're looking, as we're walking forward, our posture determines our position, and our position determines our posture. And so when we look up, and as we continue to move forward, and we're looking up, we begin to really understand more about who we are and where we are and what we want to do. And so today we're going to talk about the climb. And in many previous segments, excuse me for reading, but I really want to make sure that we get really clear, concise content. So I don't want to just ramble on and on. I want to make sure that you're getting what you need. I'm able to put out the information in a way that is able to be understood. And so I'm going to read a little bit, and then we're going to discuss it. In many of our previous segments, we discussed the airplane and its ascent and descent during flight operations. The takeoffs and landings are an important part of the journey, but they're not the journey. But they are required for safe operation of the aircraft in order to complete and to perform its mission and complete its journey, and for the passengers to arrive safely at the next destination. It's important for us to understand that taking off and landing are not they're part of the journey, but they're not the journey. When a pilot goes into the flight simulator, he goes in and he learns all of the safety of flight rules, all the things that go along with the flight, the function of flight, and all talked about cabin crew, talked about all these different things, but they practice taking off and they practice landing, because if you cannot take off properly, if you cannot ascend, then you can't start the journey. But if you cannot descend, then you can't end the journey. And so it's important for us to understand that in order for us to be able to be productive and be progressive in our journey and in our understanding, we have to be willing to ascend when it's necessary and descend when it's necessary. So today we're going to talk about the climb, because there are times when you're flying, there are times when you're soaring that you have to go above where you are. We have to go above the clouds. We have to go above situations. We have to go above circumstances. You have to go above traffic and turbulence in order for you to really be able to excel in what you want to excel in. And so today, the climb is necessary. It's a necessary part of the ascent for the takeoff, but it's also necessary when you're in the middle of flight. and you recognize that the environment is not conducive for you to stay in that particular flight pattern. So you might have to go up, or you might have to ascend or descend just a little bit in order for you to be able to continue to be safe in your flight. And sometimes you run across traffic patterns. Sometimes you run across some people with some old mindsets and mentalities. Some people who have some bad attitudes and stuck in some circumstances, situations, and they're speaking to you out of their own circumstances, situation, and they don't want to understand your situation, but they don't. Their only purpose is to drag you down. And if you're not careful, you'll listen to them long enough to start taking on their thought pattern. So now you have to figure out, as you're dealing with these people, do I need to ascend or descend in order for me to be able to successfully navigate my own journey. And there's nothing wrong with you entertaining people, talking to people about their problems, or entertaining their negativity, to an extent. But the thing you have to understand is you can't let your mindset be degraded down to that low level of thinking, so that you're not able to function on a regular in your regular consistency, because you've taken on too much of their baggage, too much of their mindset, too much of their way of thinking, too much of their negative words and negative actions and negative activities, in order for you to be able to be successful. And so we have we have to learn to ascend. We get into that place of turbulence, and then we must ascend. Experienced pilots with proper fuel load determine the aircraft's ability to avoid turbulence simply by climbing higher. The easiest way to avoid turbulence is simply climb higher. Go a little bit higher. Yeah, so then it says on our journey, we become more self-aware. We're aware of the situations and the conditions and the environment around us, and it is at these points that we determine our energy level. What our energy level is, and we climb higher. It is essential for you to be able to do a climate assessment. Thank you, Lord. But do a climate assessment of the environment you're going into, and climate assessment of the environment on the inside of you as well, so that you're able to better understand how to navigate the situation. And when you get into a situation when you're talking with someone who may or may not be on the same journey you're on, might not be on the same level that you're on, and so to speak. And when you're discussing that with them, you need to be able to assess how you're taking in that information, how you're receiving that input that they're exchanging with you, so you can better navigate your own ideas, your own thoughts, your own feelings, your own attitude, to make sure that you do not descend or degrade down into where you were before. We don't ever want to go back into an unrefined version of ourselves. That's not the purpose of the program. That's not the purpose. It's not what I want you to get from this. But also, it's not what I want you to expect from yourself. When we have a self-expectation, when we have a desire for our own being, for our own walk, our own talk, our own understanding, we have to operate out of that self-expectation we have for ourselves. We can't get too caught up in what's going on around us, and we can't get too caught up in what people are saying to us. Well, we have to really begin to understand how to climb higher, how to move differently, how to continue to stay high vibrational in our attitude, in our walk, in our talk, and in our being. We can't let yourself be brought down by things that are external to you. If it's external to you, leave it, let it stay out, leave it out, push it out. And let it stay clear of your path to continue on your journey. And it's so important for us to understand that. Sometimes we find that airspace is congested due to traffic, and it becomes difficult to avoid turbulence. But the pilot understands that situation, turns on the take your seat light, and announces that there will be turbulence. You have to. There's sometimes you can avoid situations. There's sometimes you can avoid circumstances. There's sometimes you can avoid people, and so you have to get in your mind that there's going to be some turbulence. There's going to be some misunderstanding, and there's going to be a possible argument, a possible blow up, a possible explosion. But you have to be willing to be emotionally intelligent enough to not let it go too far. you have to be the bigger man or bigger woman in the situation at all times. It is you need to expect that of yourself. That no matter what situation you're in, no matter who you're dealing with, I'm always going to be the bigger man or the bigger woman. I'm always going to operate out, out of my wealthy place, out of my place of abundance, out of my abundant mindset, so that I don't get drawn back into who I was, so I can continue to be successful in navigating this journey. It is important. It is important. It is important that you continue to be who you are. You continue to walk in what you're walking in now as you continue to move forward, so that you can be successful and be consistent every single day. We want to be able to show up every single day and give our all every single day, no matter what's going on around us. We want to be able to have a mindset where we're going to succeed and be successful, and we're going to win every single minute of every single day, because we have a winning mindset, and not one that's drawn back or that trapped us into being the old version of us, or an older version of who we were. And so someone we've been trying to so definitely to shed and get rid of all these years, and we finally made space in our life to be able to move out of this poor mindset, this poor stature, this poor mindset, the scarcity mindset, and we finally begin to move into what we want to be, into a place of abundance, in our thoughts, abundance in our heart, abundance in our dreams, abundance in our activities. So we can't stay in scarcity. We can't walk in scarcity. We can't let someone drag us back into lack. We're not going to do that. So we're going to continue to move forward. We will continue to move forward. But there will be times when you can't avoid turbulence, when you have to walk through situations, and you have to walk through it. The pilots don't slow the jet, don't slow the jet down. They fly through it. Okay, look, it's gonna be a little bumpy. I need you to take your seat. I need you to prepare the cabin, tie everything down. We're gonna go through this. It'll take me a few minutes. We apologize, but we're gonna get through it. It's gonna be all right, and that's it. And so man, it's so good. Um, yes, there is nothing worse than going through unannounced turbulence, or meeting unexpected turbulence without being properly prepared. On your flight, you or we are responsible for all of the passengers aboard our aircraft, our family, our friends, and strangers. So with that, we must understand that every environment we operate in, For this reason, we need to exercise self-discernment. We need to exercise, okay, before you can identify other people's situations, before you can identify what's going on with Jim, John, or Betty, you need to identify what's going on with you. We need to identify what's going on with us. And then once we understand what's going on with us, and where we are, what realm we're in, how we're moving, how we're walking, then we can better assess the climate around us, the environment around us, the people around us. But until we understand and are able to fully discern us, we're always going to be in danger of walking in turbulence. We're always going to be in danger of getting into unforeseen situations, where we're in arguments, or we're in fights, where we end up with bad attitudes, where we end up saying things we don't mean, and all these things. When we talked about choices, we talked about the answer, and we talked about the attraction, the distraction, and the zero. We talked about those things in a past segment, but we can't walk, and we can't ever walk in zero. We can't ever let the distraction take us too far out of where we are, or who we're supposed to be, or who we want to be, who we desire to be. And so we have to really be conscious and self discerning at all times. Yes. We cannot walk in situations haphazardly and not expect consequences, or if we are not properly prepared. If we're not properly mentally and psychologically prepared situations, if we're not properly spiritually prepared for situations, we're going to find ourselves in situations where we're going to end up embarrassing somebody, or being embarrassed by the situation through an argument, or through some kind of where we're releasing or saying something that is uncommon to the character that we're building right now. It might be common to the character that you were, but what we're building right now it's going to be uncommon to that character, and so we don't want to walk in the uncommon character. We don't want to walk in a place in a place where this character has never been, where the uncommon character has never been before, and introduce that person or introduce that character into an environment that where we are desiring to thrive. We want to know exactly who we are in every environment we are in, and we want to make sure that when we're going into the environment that we're building for ourselves, when we're trying to get into the future us, and we're doing our dream actualization and our goal actualization, that we're bringing the common character, we're bringing the one that we want to succeed on a daily basis into that environment at all times. That's the one we want. We want the common character, not the uncommon character, not the one that's lack and scarcity and all the crazy stuff that we did back in the past. We don't want that person in this part of our life. This is not the time of the season for that person to operate in, or even to pop his head up. We're going to walk in the consistency of the characters that we're building at this moment, because the content of our character is everything. The content of our character is everything. The content of our character is everything. And so we have to make sure that we're maintaining the proper content and the proper character for the situation that we're in. In-flight turbulence is expected. The majority of times we fly. However, when the pilot is not prepared or has not prepared the cabin crew or the passengers, the result can be dangerous and disastrous. Anytime we fly on a plane, we have to get on the plane expecting that there's going to be some kind of turbulence, that there's going to be some kind of situation when we get in flight. And if we're not prepared for that turbulence, that in-flight situation, then more than likely it's going to have unexpected consequences. And so because of that, we have to really begin to prepare our mindset for the journey before we get on the plane. Before you get mindset for the journey, before you get on the plane, and by doing that, you're able to successfully navigate the takeoff, the landing, and getting to the desired destination. Yes. Okay, so the last part of this is fuel up properly, discern self and environment, and climb above the fray. As often as we are able to, as often as we're able to, the higher we climb. Yeah, the more fuel and energy we burn. So this necessitates us being in the right mindset and properly rested. Okay, so let me say this again, so make sure that it's clear. Fuel up properly and discern self and environment, and climb above the fray as often as we're able to. The higher we climb, the more fuel and energy we burn. The higher we climb, the more fuel and energy we burn. So it takes energy, it takes fuel, it takes us to be properly rested. It takes us to be in the right mind, constantly being in the right mindset for us to be able to climb and move into the place we want to move into. And so we have to take responsibility for managing our time, for managing our effort, for managing our energy, and for managing our mindset in order for us to continue to operate in what we want to operate in. And so that's how we continue to be consistent in our flying, continue to have the right amount of energy and fuel in order to be able to move forward. So just remember this: it takes energy, it takes fuel. And the more energy we burn, the higher we climb, the more energy we burn, the more fuel we burn. So we have to continue to be in the right mindset and properly rested. And the last thing I want to say to you is, let's soar higher. Let's soar higher. Let's soar higher. Fly higher. Fly higher. It's okay for you to fly. Make sure that you're flying higher, but make sure that you understand everything going on around you, and you're aware of the traffic above you, traffic below you, and what's going on in front of you. All right, this is Coach Vic. This is Finding Your 40. God bless you. I'll see you the next time. Thank you for liking, sharing, subscribing to the videos. Thank you for all the new subscribers. I didn't mention that in the very beginning, but I love you guys. Thank you guys for joining me. Thank you guys for pushing me higher and allowing me to take you higher with me. God bless you. Have a good rest of your day. Bye.